Hi, I'm Gavin Hoey, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make your own digital lightbox. Then we're going to take our image here and break it into little pieces and reconstruct it on the lightbox to create a really cracking image. To make the lightbox, we're actually going to create a brand new blank empty image. To do that, we need to come up to File and then choose the top option called New. This will allow us to create a blank empty image, but we need to put a bit of information in first. The first thing it asks for is a name. Now you can leave it as Untitled 1 if you like, but I think it's a good idea to put something a bit more memorable in, so I'm going to enter the name as Lightbox. Now we need to choose a size. If you click the little down arrow, you'll find there's a whole range of sizes to choose from. The one I want to go for is A4. Now I'm using a 6 million pixel image as my tap image here, so an A4 will give me plenty of room to reconstruct it later on. Finally, we need to choose a colour for the contents. Absolutely important that you make white as your colour for the contents. Then click OK. There's our image. As you can see, one completely white lightbox. Probably a good idea to make that a bit bigger. Let's get the zoom tool and click Fit on Screen. Now there's one point we need to make sure we've got set correctly before we go too far, and that's down here on the colours. It's important that we've got white set as our background colour, so if it's anything other than white, just click the little black and white box and that'll reset it to the normal black and white as your background colour. Okay, so we're ready to start breaking our image into little pieces. To do that, I'm actually going to use a selection. I'm going to make a sort of rectangular selection on the image here. Now Elements has quite a few selection tools for you to try, but the one I'm going to use is one that's not normally on display. It's called the Polygonal Lasso tool, and you'll find it hiding away behind the Normal Lasso tool. To find it, click the Normal Lasso tool, hold the button for a second, and you'll find you've got three other options that pop out. We want the middle one. So there's our tool. An expert tip for using this tool is to create a little bit of working space around the edge of the image, because we want to go right up to the edges with this. If I move the cursor onto a corner, any corner, it doesn't matter which, you'll see it changes to a little diagonal arrow. Now when I click and drag, I'll get a bit of grey working area around the edge of our image. Now this isn't true image, this is just blank working space. Because what I'm going to try to do is to make a selection, and I find it a lot easier to make this sort of selection on this grey blank area. Okay, so let's go. One quick click in the top left corner and that'll start the selection off. Doesn't look like much at the moment, but if I move the mouse, can you see what's happening? I've made an anchor point in that top left corner, and it doesn't matter where I move the mouse to, I can't move that anchor point. Okay, let's go along the top. Another click will make another anchor point, and then down a little bit, click again. I'm just trying to make a random rectangular shape, and then up to the top. And another tip here, when you get up to the top, just double click and that'll go right back to where you started. So there's our selection. You can see the marching ants going around. We're ready to cut that out, so come up to Edit and Cut. That'll cut that selection out completely from your image, and in its place it'll put white, which is the background colour. But we need to put that onto our lightbox, so come over to the lightbox image, but we need to make this active because at the moment we've still got our original picture active. So just click anywhere on the lightbox image and you'll see now this is the image that's active. And we'll go to Edit and Paste. And that'll paste in our little piece there that we've just cut out from the main image. Okay, let's have a look at the layers palette. That's F11 on the keyboard, and as you can see what we've got is two layers. We've got a background layer, which is the white, the lightbox if you like, and above that we've got our piece of image we've just pasted in. Now at the moment we've got the blend mode set to normal. If I click the little down arrow, I'll have a few extra choices. Change the piece to multiply. So our little piece here now has the blend mode of multiply. The image itself will remain unchanged, but when we add more pieces in, we'll start to see a little bit of magic happening. More of that in a moment. Okay, this piece isn't in the right place. It's slap bang in the middle of our image here. So let's move it about. Go to Image, Transform, and Free Transform. When you do, you get a little box coming around your piece there. Go inside, and you can move it anywhere on the screen. I'm going to roughly drag it to where it should be, which is in the top left corner. To get the effect we're after of a broken, cracked up image, I'm going to give it a little twist as well. And by moving my cursor outside the image, you'll see it changes to a sort of curly cursor. And that means I can rotate it by clicking and just rotating the image a little bit like that, or like that, entirely up to you. I think we'll just go in a touch. When you're happy, just click the tick, and that'll make the transformation happen. Great! Let's go back to our original image, click it to make it active, and let's cut another piece out. We've still got the polygonal lasso tool active, so here we go. Let's cut a piece out. We'll make a starting point. I'm going to try and go back through the corner like that, just to try and neaten up all the little cuts. Then work my way around, back to the start. There's our selection. Edit and cut to remove it from the image. Back to our lightbox. Click on the lightbox to make that active. Edit and paste to paste it into the image. Now you might notice here that we've got this white part. That's because we've cut a bit of white out from our main image. But that doesn't matter too much, because if we come back to the layers, change the blend mode to multiply again, and when I do, you'll find that that light area, that white area, completely disappears. And that's the beauty of the multiply blend mode. What it says is that if this was a real light box and these were real pieces, white would become invisible, but where they cross over it would get a little bit darker, and that's exactly what's happening. Let's move it into position, Image, Transform, and Free Transform, and we'll drag it up, and again we'll give it a little twist. I think this one I'll give it a little twist in the other direction, and we'll try and get a little bit of a fractured effect going on there where things don't quite line up perfectly. You can always move it around like that. There we go. Just click the tick to make the change happen. Now it's just a matter of repeating these steps over and over again until you've got the image you like. I say about 6 bits for this should do nicely. Edit and cut. Edit and paste. So here's our third piece. Again on the layers, change that to multiply. Image, Transform, and Free Transform, and we'll move that into place with a little bit of a twist. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to make the rest of this up. Stay right there, and I'll be back with you in a moment. Right, welcome back again. Just the last piece going in now, like so. And we'll just change the blend mode, multiply, and transform it like so. Now the beauty with this is that the image is never the same twice. You can come up with different shapes and different patterns every time you cut it up. But sometimes when you get to the end, you kind of find that the pattern you've got isn't quite to your liking. Well, don't worry too much, because you can always move things around a little bit. Back to the toolbar, and let's get the Move tool. Because with the Move tool, you can actually move the image around. Because it's in independent layers, you have the freedom to change your mind. So if that bit's in the wrong place, I can move it. But what about if this bit is in the wrong place? Because if I click on it, you'll find it doesn't move, still this part down here. Well, there's two things you can do. If you get the layers palette again, F11 on the keyboard, you can look down the layers until you find the right bit. There it is, the top left corner. Click that layer to make it active, and then you can move it around. But there is a neater and quicker way of doing that, and that's to come up to the options bar here and put a tick in auto select layer. Now it can be a bit annoying, this feature, so often it's turned off, but for an image like this it can be really useful. Now if I want to say move this part, I can just click it, the layer will change automatically for me, and I can move it around like so. So I can just click the individual layers and shuffle them about to my heart's content until I've got them just right. There we go, that's pretty good. And that's my Lightbox and cracking image completed.